Beacn jumped out in the creative world just a few months ago, and they came out with 3 products: the Beacn Mic, the Beacn Mix Create, and the Beacn Mix. I bought all 3 of them. Let me take you on my journey that I had with the Beacn products, and we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Roll the intro. This video is sponsored by My Wallet. Not a company, not a product, literally my wallet. I fund all the products. I purchase them all that I review on this site. But you can help me out. You can just hit that like button or hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Won't cost you anything. Speaking of something that won't cost you anything, I live stream my gaming on Twitch every Friday and Saturday night. Feel free to jump over there and watch this guy with 5 decades of experience hold his own against the youth of today. That's right. You know what I'm talking about. Let me start out by saying that this is not a how-to video of how to set up Beacn devices. It could be considered somewhat of a review of the Beacn products. I had a lot of issues in the beginning, and we will talk about those. And I just want to make it clear that this is not a how-to. This is a let's talk about Beacn. When Beacn first came out, there was a lot of videos on YouTube, and I watch a lot of videos on YouTube. I hardly watch any television. I just watch YouTube shows and channels and so forth. And when Beacn came out, they had a lot of reviews, and they were getting a lot of good reviews from a lot of the people I watch. So of course, all the hype that was going on kind of hyped me up. They were saying this thing was the GoXLR killer, and I've been using GoXLR for a couple of years at that point. And, it looked pretty darn enticing, and I ended up buying them. Do I blame the reviewers? No, I don't blame the reviewers. They're giving their honest opinions. And I'm giving my honest opinion right now of the stuff I had to deal with Beacn. I think one of the main things that interested me in the beginning with Beacn, watching all the different reviews, was, my GoXLR had all kinds of wires going to it, to and from different computers. And I mean, there was wires everywhere on my desktop. With the Beacn, you have one USB-C that goes from your Beacn Mix Create to the PC, and then you have your one USB-C that goes from the mic to the computer, and that was pretty much it. So definitely a lot less wiring involved with all that. That was kind of enticing to me. Another thing that enticed me was this was all done digitally. There was no analog going from the XLR mic to the GoXLR, and then from the GoXLR to my computer, converting it to a digital signal. And with my GoXLR, with the connections to and from the computers, I would use the noise isolator. These are noise loop isolators that you can get. And even though I had one on every input, the input to my streaming computer, the input to my gaming computer, the input to the GoXLR, everything I had these on, that's supposed to flatten out and get rid of the hums and the noises and stuff like that. I could still hear a faint signal when using the GoXLR, and the thought of getting rid of that with the Beacn product I liked, because it was going to be pretty much a pure digital signal going to, until it got to my headphones and converted to audio. But, and there was not going to be any analog to digital to analog, all that jumping around of converting stuff. It was going to be a straight digital signal from the mic to the computer until it got to my headphones and was converted to sound. And that really kind of sold me on wanting to get it, and this mic is a pretty awesome mic as well. My first hurdle when trying to get the Beacn stuff was, in the beginning, you couldn't just add to cart and buy when you wanted to. It was always, you had to wait till it was available. And they have 2 versions. They have the white, which I ended up getting, and the dark. Now I prefer the dark, But at the time, I could not add the dark one to the cart, so I had to buy the white one. The Beacn mic itself is $280. The Beacn Mix Create is $199. So, you know, you're looking right just shy of $500 to get those items. And I also bought the mix. But I ended up, you know, that's another $150. So I bought all three products. I ended up giving the mix to one of my sons, but you know, because the Create's more what I need for live streaming, and especially with the dual PC setup. So cost is definitely something to think about if you're looking at getting these products. They're not cheap. I think I got my Shure mic that I use with the GoXLR. You know, this thing's not cheap. I think it was a couple $100 maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But you know, and this is a very good mic if you're going to go XLR. And this one also has the ability, we can connect right to the computer and use through USB as well. It's a very versatile mic, but you know, I prefer the GoXLR and using the XLR mic at the time. Now I'm kind of, the Beacn's kind of growing on me, but we'll get into that. So back, where were we? Yeah, it was expensive, and I had to get the white mic. Now I am thinking about painting this black, like a flat black. You know, I don't want to ruin the mic, but I really don't like the white mic. I just got it because that's all that was available. So I will be painting this eventually, I think. Hopefully I don't screw it up. As expensive as it was, I convinced myself, well, I'll sell my GoXLR, and that'll help defer the cost of all this stuff, because, you know, getting all three of them was definitely over, you know, it's over $600 easy. So, you know, I sold my GoXLR, used that money to you know, towards getting some of this stuff, and that's how I kind of convinced myself, oh, it won't be that bad because I'll sell the GoXLR and that'll defer some of that cost. Well, that was my first mistake, selling my GoXLR, because in the beginning I had all kinds of problems with this stuff, and let's get into that. So I got my GoXLR stuff, hooked it all up to my computer. You know, I got the mic set up using Harris Heller's guide, link below in the show notes, and got it all sounding great. And then when I clicked the program in the computer to move it over to another screen, it crashed. I'm like, well, that's weird. Or if you even click the window and just move it around, it crashed. So it would crash very touchy. On the drop of a dime, it would just crash. So I had problems with the software crashing all the time. I'd be using it, talking on Discord or whatever, and the program would just shut down. And, you know, people aren't hearing me anymore. I can't talk to them. I'm like, what the hell? So even while using it, while in use, not moving it or anything, it would crash. So the software was super buggy. And I also noticed using the task manager that it was using a lot of resources, a lot of GPU resources. Not sure what exactly it was doing, but using a lot of resources and constant crashes. It was super buggy. I mean, so bad that you know, I opened a ticket with Beacn and I contacted Beacn. So I told them all my symptoms in the ticket. To Beacn's credit, they contacted me right away. I mean, like within a couple hours of me submitting the ticket. They asked me to do a couple things. I did what they asked me to do for troubleshooting. Still was having the issues. I sent that info back to them, and basically the text response was, "Oh yeah, we're seeing that with some computers. Some computers it's just not working with." He's like, "Do you have another computer you can try it with?" Well, I have other computers. That's not really a problem for me. But what if What if I was a customer with only one computer and that was my only computer? What kind of solution is that? Try it on another computer. That's not a good solution. But I did try it on another computer, and I had issues on the other computer. So for me, it wasn't just isolated to one computer. For me, it was so bad. It was crashing so bad and not reliable. I mean, the mic sounded great. Software looked cool when it was up and running, but it would constantly crash. And it was definitely not reliable, and I couldn't even rely on it during a stream. I couldn't stream. So I ended up buying a GoXLR Mini. I didn't get a full-blown GoXLR again because when I had the GoXLR, even though it was cool and had the motorized sliders and everything, I rarely found myself using, saving any recordings or using the audio stuff. Once in a while I'd use it, but the GoXLR Mini was just fine for me. All I needed was the mixer. Didn't need all the other crap with it, and it was working great. So I ended up getting the GoXLR Mini, going back to my Shure mic, and I boxed up my Beacn mic, my Beacn Mix Create, and advertised on Craigslist. Obviously it didn't sell, but I was done with it. I was done with Beacn less than a week after I initially got Beacn, and I had to buy another GoXLR, so there was more money. So there was that. So after about 3 months, I was back on GoXLR. Beacn was just in a box, in a corner, whatever. Then I'm watching my YouTube videos like I do, and Harris Heller has another video. He's like using Beacn for the last 3 months. And at the end of his video, he's talking about how it was okay on his computer, a couple of buggy issues, but otherwise it was fine. But on another computer at his company, it constantly kept crashing. So, in my mind, I was like, you couldn't say that, 3 months earlier when I was all hyped up and wanting to buy it. But that's neither here nor there. I definitely don't blame Harris. He's a cool dude. I like his videos. But I just thought it was funny that after all the trouble I had and had tossed my Beacn crap to us, over $600 worth of crap to the side and just sitting in a box, that he came out with a video saying, oh yeah, it's pretty buggy on some computers. Well, yep, I know that. So a couple weeks ago, I was watching a Twitch stream. I was watching Pool Shark. I watch him regularly. He plays a lot with Dr. Lupo, who I also watch. And he had just recently got the Beacn mic and the Beacn Mix Create, and he was talking on his stream how great that was. I threw a comment on his stream saying that, hey, I tried the Beacn stuff. It was crap. Basically told him my story. I was like, I had the Beacn stuff. It was crap. I went back to GoXLR, and he saw my chat entry there, and he responded and said, hey, they fixed the software. Everything's running great now. I have no problems with it. So that's where we are right now. Based on what he said, I thought, well, I did spend all this money on this equipment. Maybe we'll give another shot. Maybe they did fix the software. Worst case scenario, I go back to my GoXLR. I'm not going to sell that. That's for sure. It's there as a backup. So that's what kind of led to me hooking up and testing the Beacn software again. So I hooked up the Beacn mic, the Beacn Mix Create, got everything set up again. I hooked it up on my gaming PC, and then I have it routed through the GoXLR, which is hooked up to my streaming PC. So the output from my computer that has the Beacn equipment on it goes to the input of the GoXLR, which then in turn goes to my streaming PC, and then that's what gets put out to the audio gets put out when I'm streaming. Installed the software. Everything works great. I mean, it just, everything's just working. I've had one minor issue since I reinstalled and hooked everything up again. And that was, I had put my computer to sleep, and when I woke it up again, the Mix Create turned on, everything came on, but the RGB on the microphone itself did not come back on, and I couldn't get it to turn back on. But I unplugged the USB-C port in the back of the mic and then plugged it back in, and the RGB came back on. So if that's the worst little bug that I have with this right now, I'm good to go. Everything's working great. It's not crashing at all. I can move the window around with the application. I can resize it, do all kinds of stuff. It's not crashing at all. And that was my main problem months ago when I first used it. I checked the task manager. The GPU stuff is fixed. It's not using incredible amounts of GPU for whatever it was doing months ago. They must have fixed that issue. Yeah, it's just running great. I've had no problems other than that RGB thing. Also, a bonus of using it on my gaming machine is I recently got the SteelSeries Arctis Nova Pro wireless headset, and with that, it has the sonar software, which is excellent when you're gaming. There's certain settings for different games you can turn on, but it works with. I can use the sonar software even while I'm streaming and get that excellent gaming quality. That quality audio in my ears while I'm gaming, good directional of the enemy and all that stuff, and still function with all the Beacn stuff. And I'll put a link in the show notes to the tutorial of how to get the SteelSeries set up using the sonar software with the Beacn software. I'll put a link down in the show notes, so if you have that, you can set that up too. So literally a couple of days after I got everything up and running again, I'm happy with Beacn now. For now, we'll see if a software update breaks it again. Everything's running great right now, so I have no issues. GoXLR is not going anywhere. Have that as a backup. But literally a couple days after I got everything up and running again, EposVox comes out with a video. He was at his last straw with his Beacn stuff, and he said literally, well, here's what he said.
I'm done. There is no product now or in the future that I would ever say is a good idea to purchase from this company. And I'd suggest you just back away slowly.
So definitely I'm keeping my GoXLR Mini, as a backup, because if this, for whatever reason, starts getting buggy again, then, that's what I'll fall back on. But until then, I'm liking it. I'm using all the Beacn stuff now. No complaints. Things are great when they work, right? Well, I apologize for this one being a little long, but the information's got to get out there. I definitely had to tell my story. So, if someone's interested in the Beacn stuff, all I can say is, do a lot of research. Some people are still having issues with it. I had a lot of issues with it at first. It is working right now, but I do have a fallback just in case it stops working. So, depending on your situation, do you have $500 or so to sink into getting this equipment? It's based on your situation. I'm not gonna recommend or not recommend this product. That's up to you to do the research. I fell into the hype in the beginning, and I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, according to all the videos I was seeing. But then I had my experience, so now I'm a little more humbled, and don't believe everything you hear out there, and don't run out to buy the newest thing right away. Give it a little time. So some of the takeaways here, this is quality equipment. This mic is definitely a great, I mean, it's a top tier USB mic for sure. Good quality. Like there's a lot of good stuff that's going on just in the internal of the mic, that, not even counting what's going on with the software. And the Beacn Mix Create, definitely the things you can do on there surpasses the GoXLR with what you can do in the GoXLR software. So definitely it's a quality item, and you're paying that premium for a quality item. Usability is real good. Once you get it figured out, the software, you can deep dive the software and do all kinds of stuff. So it is pretty technical, but I found it usable and easy to understand all the different stuff with it. The software is great when it's working, and it's very frustrating when it's not. Just like any software. Warzone's awesome sometimes, but then it could get an update and then it's buggy and crappy. Everyone remember those guns you would pick up and all pixelated, or shit happens with all software. I get it. They might not have should have launched when they did, because it was still pretty buggy. But now it's cool, at least for now. So I like the digital, being digital with my audio instead of going analog to digital and then out to the masses. So that's kind of a nice plus. Now, is this microphone as good as my Shure microphone? Probably not. I'm sure the Shure is a little better. Your analog mics they're always going to be, these USB mics are not going to compare. But this thing's close. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good mic. Availability, we were on the website earlier, so you saw that you could click and buy this stuff. So it appears to be a lot more available now. But again, for that amount of money, do your research and weigh your options. There's a lot of stuff out there, and a lot of stuff that's cheaper that does the same type of stuff, but not as much stuff as this Beacn stuff does. It really does cover just about everything. I think my biggest takeaway and pet peeve with the mic is, when you're using this mic paired with the Beacn Mix, which is just the basic mixer. When you mute the mic, the band on here turns red, so you visibly know my mic's muted. You can visibly see it. On the Beacn Mix Create, you have a couple options for muting. You can mute to the audience, mute to chat, or you can set up with the big button to mute to all. I've got mine set up to mute to chat. So if I'm talking with, when I'm streaming and I'm talking to chat, not in my chat room on Discord, but if I'm talking to chat, I can mute the other players so they don't have to hear when I'm talking to chat. And then the other button, I can just mute all. Like if my wife walks in and I got to talk to her, I can mute all and we can have a conversation. So it's not going to my Discord, it's not going to my stream chat. When I push that button to mute all, Beacn, please listen. Please fix that. Please make sure the band turns red, like I have it in the software set up that way, but it does not do it when I mute the mic. That's my biggest pet peeve right now. Now that everything's working great, that's my biggest pet peeve is make the band do what it's supposed to do. You have the setting in there, but it's not doing it when I mute the mic. When I mute all, it is not red, and I want it to be red. That's my biggest pet peeve. If you're still listening to me drone on, hey man, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. Please, like I said earlier, it only helps me if you give it a like or a subscribe if you're not subscribed. and it doesn't cost you anything. So we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.